Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in to another Chaos Culture Radio exclusive. You already know what time it is, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell on the right hand side because you never know when you're going to drop another exclusive dope interview. But you already know, Hakeem, Jordan, another exclusive. What's cracking like him?
It was cracking.
Hey, all good over here. Hey, let's go. Let's get it like we always do.
And you know we gotta love Kareem Stevie, who people already know her from the chat, but it's always good to have her on the panel. And she's gonna introduce this new incredible artist. Go ahead, Stevie, do your thing.
All right. Thank you, guys. Here's another special episode. I'm bringing the arts and culture. Usually, y'all know about the chaos and culture. Today is arts and culture. So I'm going to go ahead into this intro to introduce my friend. Ben Garden, the Atlanta-bred creative rebel, is a multifaceted artist known for his boundary-pushing style. As a poet, lead guitarist, singer-songwriter, and the driving force behind the Atlanta-based psychedelic rock band Melodic Monster, Ben's artistry knows no bounds. Recently, he ventured into acting, landing roles in the indie film Pythagorean Theorem, and making an unexpected appearance in Eric Andre's hidden camera comedy, Bad Trip, alongside Lil Rel Howery and Tiffany Haddish, now streaming on Netflix. Today, we celebrate the release of his new poetry book, My Words, Your Freedom, accompanied by an audiobook. He also recently released his 2-track psychedelic poetry EP, The Ever-Growing Tide, to all streaming platforms. Let's give it up for my longtime friend and collaborator, Ben Garden. Welcome, Ben. Welcome.
Yeah.
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed, to be here with you guys. And I'm thankful that you guys invited me here to, have this discussion with you and sit here and, share space for a minute. So I'm grateful. Appreciate it.
So, Bill Garner, my first question is, what made you get into this type of field when it comes to the art and the music?
It's funny, they say TV can be a bad influence in some event, but for me, that's kind of where it more so happened. Just watching like old films, more so like the 90s films, and watching different documentaries of different artists and just seeing like what they were doing on stage. And so it's just, you see it and you want to be able to do that. You want to be able to I guess mimic or be able to do what they're doing. And for me, at one point, it got to be Kurt Cobain. And when it was Kurt Cobain, I saw him and I was like, now I want to perform, because he was just like chaotic on stage, but also he had good songs and great melodies. So it was a little bit of both. And then of course, I'm into the like the 60s psychedelic, that whole era. And so with that one, you kind of get into that psychedelic influence. So I had like a couple of friends actually in college. So I went to Morehouse College and I had some friends and they were into Pink Floyd, the Beatles, the Doors a little bit, and other music like hip hop. And I never listened to the like Paul McCartney, but never the Beatles. And so my friends would just like play it, all the time. You just, if it's good music, it's good. And from that, it influenced me to like when I started playing guitar to I guess make music in that kind of way, just being influenced by that.
Perfect. I want you, Ben, I want you to talk about how did you grow up and how did that, and I know you touched on it too, but was any of your musical influence came from maybe your parents, a cousin, a family member? So, you know what I mean? Like, and explain that, where you're from, and did that affect anything about you musically?
Yeah, well, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm from Atlanta.
ATL short.
Raised, yeah.
Now, you got to be politically correct. What county are you from?
I know. Here's the thing. I was born in Fulton County, so I'm actually born in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Now, when I moved and went home, we went to the east side. We went to Decatur, then the Stone Mountain. So Stone Mountain is pretty much where I was born and raised, to be honest with you. And so, yeah, honestly, I grew up listening to nothing but hip hop. So that's how I grew up. Like, I didn't listen to nothing else unless my mom played it, because she's the one that played, Paul McCartney and the Eagles and stuff, which I like, but nah, I'm listening to Tupac, Sip the Shocker, Master P, 3 6 Mafia, No Limit. So that's what I was listening to. And then honestly, and then my mom, she played the drums and she sang in the church, but I didn't really have like a musical family per se. My aunt kind of did it, but it wasn't a continuous thing. The only maybe consistent thing was my mom singing, just, you know, walking around and, you know, singing a hymn or a gospel song. So that was maybe the only consistent thing. But other than that, it was more so just growing up and what was I saying? Just growing up and hearing different stuff. And then, oh, here it is. So I remember this day so perfectly. So it was one day I was waiting. I had to do an assignment, 12th grade. I was doing an assignment and I was running late, right? So I'm watching MTV and they were playing the hip hop section and I'm listening to that, but then it switched to the rock section, right? I couldn't like move because I'm trying to do my essay or whatever, but then they started playing, I think it was Meant to Live by Switchfoot. And I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds kind of dope. Hold up. You know, I'm trying to do my essay. I'm like, wait a minute, turn it up. And I'm like, yo, this is cool. So the way my mind works is if I'm like, well, this is cool. Like, what else is cool going on? So then you just dive deep into that. And then that happened with Black Sabbath. So like same thing, watching TV, then it comes on, I don't touch the channel. And then Black Sabbath comes on. I'm like, wait a minute, this is what Black Sabbath sounds like? Because my dad's a preacher, right? That's toss it in there. My mom, they're, you know, church people. And so, you know, Black Sabbath, devil, don't touch it, don't listen to it, all that. But when I heard it, I'm like, wait, this ain't like, I was like, this isn't, you know, anything to be like scared of. This is actually some pretty good music. Like it's some blues music and they were actually playing some good chorus. And I was like, this is great. And then, so the first song was Iron Man. Then I heard Paranoid. And I'm like, wait, this song is great too. Next thing you know, I bought the CD and I'm like, this whole CD is great. And then, you know, you just go down that rabbit hole. So to answer your question, I grew up mostly, you know, listening to hip hop and getting into that aspect because I was a rapper. Toss it out there too. I was rapping during that time. So, you know, into hip hop. And then, you know, it just turned out that rock and roll came on and I heard it and I liked it. And, you know, I still love hip hop, but then, you know, the alternative music is just so vast, you know, just so much more. And so you get into rock and roll, but then you get into, you know, like some kind of world music. Like you hear a guitar, like I heard a sitar in the Beatles. And I'm like, wow, like that's a nice instrument. I want to hear more of that. So now I'm listening to Ravi Shankar, listening to Sundip Burman, you know, I'm listening to all kinds of other things. So to answer your question, it's more so like I didn't grow up with anything surrounding musical influences. However, it was more so just hearing what was around me and just being influenced enough to just dive deep and go on Kazaa and look up different stuff, you know, and see what you can find and mess up your computer with.
So basically music found you.
Music found me. Yeah. Music found me.
That's good.
Yep.
Hey Ben, looking at like your website, IamBenGardens.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Earlier you said you checked out, you know, that musicians that kind of influenced you. And I'm also looking at your sense of style, which I find it very intriguing. Where do you find your sense of style from? Because when I look at your style, it reminds me of Jimi Hendrix in a way. So
Yeah.
what is your style? Does your style like emulate to Jimi Hendrix or somebody else as well?
You know what's really funny? Jimi Hendrix was never like a main influence for me playing guitar. It was always Slash from Guns N' Roses because he just looked cool playing the guitar. And I'm like, I want to look cool. But then it was Kurt Cobain that made me actually want to perform and play guitar. But Slash, nah. And Jimi Hendrix, because at the time I was listening to hard rock music, you know, and I listened to the Beatles, but my friends never threw Jimi Hendrix out there like that much because, you know, they weren't. I mean, yeah, he was there, but you know, they're about listening to just other things, you know. So yeah, I didn't really care for Jimi Hendrix. I was like, man, this sounds like this is not hard enough. This don't sound hard. But then, of course, you know, like I said again, you know, your friends start playing stuff, and then you start hearing stuff, and I ain't gonna lie, everybody probably says this, but Lil Wayne, that song, oh my God, like that. I was like, that's magic. Like, I'm like, man, that intro is just nice, you know. So after that point, you're like, okay, let me dive deep. And then when you hear that song Machine Gun with the Band of Gypsies, oh, now I'm telling you, that one song, I was okay, all right, I get it. And then I became a Jimi Hendrix believer. But as far as like what may have influenced me in the style, it's more so musically wise and poetry wise is like the Doors. So, and Jim Morrison. So it'll be more so of that. When it comes to that, you know, and if it comes to guitars, then that's more so Pink Floyd, to be honest with you, on that end, because my favorite guitar player is, of course, like I said, is not necessarily Jimi Hendrix. It's really like, I would say Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, and also David Gilmour from Pink Floyd, because with David Gilmour, his guitar playing is so simple yet so effective, and it's just so beautiful, and they make this atmospheric music that kind of like brings you into this world. You know, it's like it's like Pink Floyd create this world, brings you in, and you know, you leave feeling like a fever dream or something. You know, and you know, with Billy Corgan, he's just going wild and crazy. You know, kind of like Jimi Hendrix's course, but it's just a little different because it's more alternative. So I would have to say it's not Jimi Hendrix. It's more so based off of just, honestly, it's just whatever I think of at the time, really. And what I have at the time, you know, because the outfit you may see, like if I'm wearing something, it's something that was like laying around that I may have had. And I'm like, okay, how can I work this? You know, how can I be the most creative? You know, because everything that I do as far as creativity is to like, to advance the norm, you know, to take something that's normal, like, okay, you got a band going on stage, you can have a band playing on stage, it's fine, right? If the music is great, the music is great, right? But like, what if you have a visual, you know? What if you have like a dancer that's dancing out there while you're playing your music? And it just adds to the experience, because, you know, when you go see certain things, you want to, like I said before, you want to get people all their senses, their sense of sight, their sense of hearing, maybe their sense of smell. So during my performances, I'll light some I'll light some incense, so they can like, oh, okay, they can feel that. Then you have a nice visual. Now they're into that, and then the music, and it just brings it all around. So it's more so, to be honest, I'm not really. I'm influenced by the creativity of the people in the past, like the '60s, and it's like even you can go to you know. Oh man, you know the famous guy with the suit thing. I forgot. It's so stupid. I can't remember his name. Y'all know his name. Campbell Soup.
Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol. Yeah. Even creativity like that. You know, it's like you want to. It's like taking everything that the creatives have done in the past and finding a way to make that into your own, and just to shock the world, man. You know, just like bring people things that they've never seen before. So anyway, that's the end of my rant on that part.
I love that. I'm gonna jump in. I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on the show, is because your art and like the way that you create is so different from what we typically see, right? So like, especially, you know, stereotypically people be like, oh, he's a dude, a black dude, he probably doing rap, he probably doing hip hop. Which you started with that, you know, but from there, you realize there's like all this other world of music, because you're also a musician. So you can appreciate the sounds of music, not just like the words or just the beat, but you're like, okay, now I'm creating my own music. So like, what type of music I want to create, you know, which I think is really cool. And again, this is the reason why I wanted you to come on and sort of tell your story, but also just shed light on something else. We always say, oh, we want something else. We want original art. We want original artists, but who's actually giving platforms to these artists? And there's so many more creative, unknown artists that people haven't heard of. Of course, the ones we know, there's a few that's in the mainstream that we hear about every day for whatever reason. But like, there's tons of unknown artists that are just doing all types of cool stuff, whether it's visual art or music, you know, and then there's all these other genres of music, you know, as we saw with the interview we did with Cara, you know, she was doing reggae music. So it's just nice to be able to have people see just these different ways that we can be creative and express ourselves. Okay, so we talked a lot about the music, which is so important. I think we should start getting into the book, the poetry book. Why did you venture off into doing a poetry book? You have all this experience as a writer, as a songwriter, as a performer. Well, why a poetry book? That's just like a whole different lane and so different from everything else, but obviously connected. So maybe you could tell us a little more about the book, the title, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so once again, like I said, movies, they're just such an influence for me. So I was watching Oliver Stone's The Doors, funny enough. And towards the end of the movie, Jim Morrison passes out a small book of his poetry to each of his band members. And it's like, hey guys, I'm about to leave to go to France. Here's a book of my poetry. And I was like, yo, that's so cool to just like hand out a book of your poetry to people. And I was like, I really want to do that, because at the time I was writing poetry, and I was like, I really want people to hear it, but I don't want to just, put it out on the internet and, send it out into the ether. I want to put it in people's hands, and that was way back in the day, right? And then so I've always wanted to do it, but you just don't really know how to go about doing that. So long story short, I found out how to do it, and then it was just all about, okay, like what poems do I want to put out? Because the book is called My Words, Your Freedom, right? And the reason why it's called that is because in my experience in life, I feel like a lot of people have things they want to say and things they want to do, yet they sometimes may hold back because societal norms or whatever else, peer pressure or whatever the case may be, And my eternal feeling is like, we're all free to do whatever the fuck, we're all free to do whatever the heck we want, And so when that's the case, since that's the case, it's like, speak, I get it. Sometimes it's good not to say certain things, but I feel like the poetry book that I'm writing, that I wrote, and the book that's out, My Words, Your Freedom, it's just saying things that's personally, maybe certain things that I'm thinking about and that's on my mind and that's personally happened to me. And I'm just being honest about, honest about, my relationship with women, putting that out there because, hey, that is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no, I wasn't doing certain things. Yeah, of course. And you were too. So don't try to act like, most people, that's how it is. I talk to other women, I get it. So it's like, don't be afraid to say that. Just stand up in that truth and just say that. You know what I mean? Because once you say that, then you can work on the evolution of freedom. You can work on the evolution of getting better, at that point. So that's why I say those certain things. And it also speaks about, things that are happening in society, things about like one poem is called It Takes a Village, and it's all about, us coming together to raise a child. But then it's like, what if that village is damned? That village is damned. How will the child be raised? You know what I mean? And thinking about that, like think about, and then I love the final words because it says, old habits die hard, old thoughts never die. History repeats itself. Because old habits do die hard. It's old for like think about it. Like if you were born older, like maybe white people, right? If you were born in the world was nothing but slavery, right? And then all of a sudden you got this new world, right? And people aren't talking about that much. You think they probably changed their minds? No, Shawty, because old habits die hard. You've been was doing that. Now it's not a judgment. That's what it is. Old habits die hard and old thoughts never die. You can put them down, you can suppress them, you know what I'm saying? But they're still there. So therefore, if that's the case, history repeats itself. So once we're able to get rid of those old thoughts, get rid of those old habits, then history won't. But the way I look at the world, the village is down, the child is down, people are stuck in their old ways, not advancing, not trying to get better. History is going to repeat itself. And if you sit back and look at the world, Shouty, if you look at it, it's like the same thing over and over again. Oh, somebody has a war out here, or somebody killed somebody out here, or something's going on. This movie has repeated itself so long. I'm sitting here like, y'all don't see what's going on, Shouty. Like, what? Why y'all think this is a movie, Shouty? You know what I'm saying? So, because the village is down, but that's a whole different topic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to talk about that kind of stuff. The book is called My Words, Your Freedom, though. And that's what it's all about. It even talks about just internal, introspection. It talks about like certain poems is called Where Is the Time? And it's like it's about just time, just being able to move on and letting time heal wounds. But also understanding that with time, you can lose certain things, right? And so with that being said, since time is fleeting, you must like just just relish in the present that you have, because where is the time? You can't touch it, so you can't feel it. So if that's the case, you need to, and that's why I said I'm trying to free people, because I'm trying to let people know you need to take care of the time you have now, because like I said in the poem, it's like, because one day attachments will become forgotten gems. Attachments will become forgotten gems. They're just things you just thought about and things you just knew. And your mind is going to skip a beat. That means you're going to lose your memory at some point. You know, that happens with people, you know? And so when that, if, or, you know, hope it doesn't happen, but, you know, if that happens, why not take the time now that we have? Because where is the time, you know? So that's just what I'm trying to express in the book, because and I'm not trying to say I'm perfect or anything. Don't even get me wrong, because the book is written from my imperfection, you know, and my introspection as well. So it's not about me putting myself on a platform. It's really all about me leveling with people and being like, yo, I ain't gonna hide who I am. And I will hope you wouldn't hide who you are, because we all the same in some kind of way. You ain't gonna tell me nothing that's gonna surprise me, Shawty. People might think, oh, Ben is this, man. Shawty, I've been to jail, Shawty. I'll tell you that straight up. You know what I mean? I've been there. You know what I mean? Got down for marijuana and stuff like that. And that's cool. But guess what, though? The best thing about going through those things in life, you get closer to understanding, first of all, how precious life is and freedom is. But second, I'm going to just toss it out there, God, you know? Now, I know it's not a religious platform or anything like that, but I'm going to toss it out there because that's who I am, and that's how this is all being taken, my perspective. It's like going through those experiences help you realize how much you can come through, basically. Long story short, you can get through. So, yeah, I've been to jail. I've been this. I've been that. You know what I mean? Shit, I say that junk all day. I got a record, but guess what? You ain't going to find it, though. You ain't going to find it. You ain't going to find it. So here's my thing. And even if you did find it, okay. What, you better? Y'all better than me? Shit, man.
You deep. Well, I think you already answered my question. I will ask you, tell us about a time that you felt like giving up on poetry, music.
Oh, my friend. Hey, listen. Honestly, I could never give it up, because there was recently, and Kareem knows this, Shawty. I didn't have a job for 2 years. I didn't have like a job that could pay my bills or anything for 2 years. And honestly, it was only poetry and music and stuff that got me through, because if I didn't have something to focus on, like, okay, because my poetry event, the book, everything, I didn't have the money to put out anything at the time. I just said, let me just write everything down, and because when I finally get the money to do it, I know exactly what I'm gonna do as soon as time hits. Let me just write it down now. And if my imagination saved me, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to be honest with you, like, because the world is such a, not cruel place, but it's such a fickle place. And I can only imagine if you don't have some kind of anchor, then you can just go crazy out here, you know, because you can't depend on people. You can't depend on whatever. You can't depend on a lot of things. So anyway, yeah. So no, man, poetry, music and stuff, that actually kept me on the level until something came. And then I was, okay, now I have enough money to put out the book, to put out, you know, the music and do everything else.
That's cool, Ben. Just hearing you speak about poetry, I could definitely feel that passion coming out of you. Where did that passion come from when it comes to poetry?
Where did that passion come from? Well, I will say, I guess the genesis of my interest in poetry came from like watching like slam poets back in the day and watching Def Poetry Jam, you know, with Mos Def, and, you know, had different artists on there. Even Kanye West is on there. That was cool. Saul Williams is on there. So watching those, and I remember going to Starbucks coffee shop, and they would have these poetry nights. I guess I forgot what night it was. They would have those, and seeing people perform. And I'm just like, wow. And what I loved about it, because like I said, I was into hip hop and I'm rapping, right? And now I'm seeing how the slam poets were doing their thing. And I'm like, it's almost like they're rapping, but they're speaking and giving a clear message. I like that. You know, because like I love rap, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's all day. However, period. with poetry, it's just it's a without the music, of course, it's such a clear message for you to hear with a rhythm, you know, depending on who's speaking. And I was like, you know, that's great. You know, that's and it was, and at the time it was like so like, man, people can just be so like wonderful with their words, man. They can be so wonderful. And just to I mean, I have an English degree, so obviously, you know, I'm just listening to them like, wow. And so, yeah. And so I always wanted to be able to express myself, and I guess show that I had the same talent with words as well. I guess it's kind of like that, you know, because I'm listening to other people and I'm like, you know what, that's cool. You know, let me exercise that a bit, you know. So it's something that I but that I just was writing, because I was already writing raps, you know. But now I'm like, okay, let me do something. And then I remember the first one that I did, it was like confused by hate. I feel like I'm gonna lose this race, because even though I stand strong, they still refuse my case. I'm losing it. My rage escapes my cage of grace. I'm just a black man trying to make a change of pace. I pray my fate changes as I make my way. But how can society blame me when Bush craves the hate? Dealing with crosses in my life, don't know which road to take. Because either way, somebody's still gonna try to take my place. Because in this world today, nobody seems to be safe. They still got vultures in the air just waiting for me to fall. They got an APB out trying to hurt my cause. I got nightmares in my grave surrounded by black cars. So I move on, reach for the stars, trying to bless my seeds. Living in the world today where women constantly stressed to conceive. Abortion and wounds, not giving life a chance to breathe. Because love's no longer the recipe. All there is deceit. What have we come to now? Crying and lurking in darkness. Still got babies in the world crying for their lost fathers. You do the math. Y'all see it. It takes a truth to believe it. But y'all need to stop constant stressing with beef. And we need to reunite all nations and work for some peace. I remember I did that poem. That was the first one I did. Yeah, that was the first. So you can tell the context of, I said Bush, right? Because that's, you know, it's dating or whatever. But that's what I wrote at the time, you know, when I was feeling it. And I did that at a contest, a poetry contest at high school. I went to Redan High School, Stone Mountain, and I won, and it was cool. And that, to answer your question, really made me say, you know what, I'm gonna keep doing this, you know. And of course, it started off writing poetry about girls and stuff like that, you know. But you know, of course, you know. But then, you know what I'm saying?
We know.
Yeah, man.
We know.
Yeah.
No, but
So
that was
you
dope.
got-
I ain't gonna let that was fire. But go ahead.
No,
Go
that was incredible. I never even heard that piece before. You actually took it out my mouth, the question, because I was gonna ask the same thing that Jordan asked. What was like the first piece you wrote? But yeah, you nailed it. Thank you for sharing that piece. And the fact that you remembered is crazy.
Yeah.
I want to add to the point that you said about poetry, like being like, basically it is hip hop, right? Because like even listening to you, it reminded me of elements of like Tupac. Like if you listen to Tupac, he's just, it sounds like he's doing poems over these hard beats. You know what I'm saying?
That's the first album, yeah. Tupacalypse Now.
Yeah. So and I kind of got that from you. And you know, it's very telling of the time, because hip hop today, or like mainstream rap as we know, has gotten so far from the purity. Because like that's the thing about the poetry, is that it breaks it down to what is the message. You know what I mean? There's no hiding behind anything. Like, what is the message? And when you also talked about sort of observing the world, I felt like you found your role, or you understood your gift as a writer, that it was for you to observe like the madness and say, okay, let me translate this so people can like see it from my perspective, or let me translate it so we can be able to see it together. Like, do y'all see this?
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's really cool and very powerful, and so glad that you decided to take the time to sort of put these thoughts and these observations into a book that people can read. And I will say the book, For people, it's out now on Amazon.com. The book is it's a very easy read. It's a very quick read. I already have my favorite poems in there, my top 3 pieces. I'll say First World Problems. There's Life is a, and then it's followed by another poem called Karma, which obviously is intentional. The 2 poems to me seem like they're paired purposely together. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give my commentary on that. I don't know. I feel like Hakeem had a question. Did you have a question?
I wanted to play one of your poems, then I'm gonna ask a question. Okay. Cool.
Grave. Life is about resurrection, dying over and over again until the day we get it right. When pain becomes real, you'll finally understand why songs are made. Cradle to the grave, grave to the cradle. I'm glad to meet you again. Sanctuary.
Beautiful. Now, here's my question.
Yeah.
Up until this point, man, I know a lot more than they do. What you think right now, as you being a creative, you being very multifaceted, writer, singer, musician, poet, book writer, what has been your biggest challenges right now in your career as far as being a creative?
The biggest challenge is the biggest challenge is when you have all these ideas and you're trying to find a way to get it all out, and some of that may take money and some of that also may take time, right? And so some of that is, okay, you have to get more money in some kind of way and or get more people to be able to handle certain other things as well to help out. And so I would say that's like the biggest challenge, because the ideas are there, they're written down. It's just that is what it is, because I'm one person and I also do photography. And so it's like, and that's been actually I spend more money on that and doing time with that as well. So it's like, with all those things being said, sometimes it's kind of hard to not only sit down and come up with the ideas, but also find some space and time to make it a reality. And so and I know that's an opportunity that I can have. So I've actually thought about, and I was earlier today, I need to write it down, but thought about writing it down, of getting board members. Because I have a business, Melodic Monster Studio LLC. It's a thing. And so from what I want to do is take people that I trust, which one of them is Mark Mallory. He doesn't even know this, so I'm just saying on it. But anyway, he's gonna know later. But yeah. Actually, I did kind of tell him this already, so it's not a secret. But yeah, and getting him, because we just did a film. We just filmed a 3-day film festival called No Words ATL, and we did that. And I was a person that got the job and got the equipment and everything. And I said, hey, I just need an assistant, And working with him was really great, And I really like working with him. So it's like, okay, I want to keep him. You gotta keep the Kareem, our friendship, and also, you gotta keep them. You gotta keep them. So, all right, that's a good person, because they're not around as much. So I want to get a board member of people that I trust to be able to not necessarily just help me, but help us, because I'm all about community. I'm all about trying to, like Kareem knows this, what I mean? If I got a way that I can get you some money, I'm going to try to give you some money, Shaw. We going to get this money. Somebody going to get some money, because that's just what it's all about, and using our creativity to be able to assist, and then not only ourselves, but maybe other people as well. And that's all a part of the business thing. So to answer your question straightforwardly, yes, getting things together to get it out is the hardest. I hate saying the hardest part, but it is like the hardest part, You don't know.
Yeah, Ben.
Go ahead, John.
Man, I just want to say this, man. You are an extremely talented person for doing music and doing poetry and then doing photography. To me, that's very, very rare gift that you have.
Well, thanks.
And going to your photography, where did the love of photography came from?
It's gonna be again. All right, so I had a friend named Sonia, And that's who did the Pythagorean theorem movie.
Yeah, you should talk about the acting too, because that's tied into there.
So and this is how prayer works out, so I was always praying, I just want to meet somebody. I just need to meet somebody who does video and does it well. I just need that, because hey, that makes everything right. And so I came in, not come into contact, but Sonya and I became friends, and we're doing these projects. We're like writing down stuff, and she had like a couple of things. So one project, I forgot what the name of the project was, but it was for like a short film entered in, and it was shown at the Landmark Theater, right? And so it was cool because right after we presented it, we were able to go to the Landmark Theater and we saw the film, and it was kind of cool, right? That was like kind of dope. So that was dope. So anyway, so I'm sitting around in Sonya's apartment and doing whatever. And then I see she has an extra camera sitting up top because she already had one camera that was dope. And I was like, do you mind if I borrow that? Just ask. She said, oh yeah, it was a Nikon. She's like, yeah, you can borrow that, because she had a Sony A7 IV, so she was good. And I was like, cool. So I got it, took it around, whatever. I didn't think too much of it. And then I showed her the pictures. She's like, oh, those are pretty good pictures. I said, okay, all right, whatever. And so I went to these jam sessions at iDrum, and it was the jam sessions that it's every first Tuesday, and it's dope, great musicians. And so I'm like, all right, if I want something to shoot, let me go there. So I go there and I'm shooting them, and it wasn't that great, because it was just whatever. Well, the editing wasn't that great. I mean, everything wasn't that great. I mean, it was good. It was all right. It's not compared to my better work. It was all right. Anyway, so that happened. But then she said, hey, why don't you try the Sony A7 IV and see how that works? So I said, okay, cool, let me go do that. And so when I borrowed her A7 IV, I got that. And then I took that out and I shot certain things and shooting certain things and whatnot. And then I was looking at the way the pictures looked on there, and I was like, wow, these are pretty dope. And then she showed me how to edit in Lightroom. So we would edit in Lightroom. And I was kind of trying to get my feel around it. I don't know. I just kept doing it. That's all I can say. I just kept doing it, right? And then as I kept doing it, like people kept saying, oh, yo, these pictures look dope. These pictures look dope. And I'm like, do they? Do they? And I learned, from doing music and other stuff in the past, it's like, I think as artists, internally, we think that what we're doing is not that great, right? But then other people will look at it and be like, yo, this is so fire, And we can be like, no, but at certain point, you just gotta believe the people. You just gotta believe what they tell you. If they're telling it to you at certain, maybe one or two times, you can be like, oh, humble. But the third time, hey, yep, sure is. I mean, you have to be that like egotistical. But at that point, it's like, yeah, of course. Have that confidence, because it goes to show that people notice. And if people are noticing, then you must be doing something, especially if they tell you. Because here's my thing. People will think you're good, but they may not tell you, right? Now, if you're really good, they will tell you. They'll be like, they can't help it. They're like, I got that stuff. He's great. So if that happens, let's take it. So anyway, so that kept happening. And then, I started like getting serious about it. Just got serious. And then people were inviting me to events, taking pictures there, like the pictures. That's it. I think the whole thing is you have a curiosity of doing something, you try it out, you keep doing it, you learn about it. Because I wasn't the greatest photographer at first, I promise you, because I didn't know anything about photography, but I love this camera right now. This is my see, the thing is, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. So I started off with A7 IV, right? The greatest camera, right? And I'm like, oh, I don't have access to that anymore. I can't use that. My pictures are gonna suck. And sometimes they may have done, they may have did, but I didn't really know that much about how the camera works, and with the aperture and with the ISO and stuff, like putting in manual. But then I have a friend, my friend Mark, and he invited me to this workshop, and I'm telling you, just learning certain things is so incredible. And now I just feel like I love this camera. You just work with what you have. It doesn't have to be the best. We were talking about earlier, Prince. We were talking about how like when I was talking about recording, like I'm over here saying, oh, my recording isn't great. Like I'm not gonna put it out. Like why should I wait till I get a professional recording to put it out? Like no, use what you got. And so that's what I've been doing with this, and people like it. I still want to get an upgrade, but I'm not going to bash my work like I used to do in the past. So, but yeah, I love it. I love it. People love it. People love getting their pictures taken. That just shows how vain I guess we all are. But honestly, I like getting my picture taken. So that's kind of why I like taking pictures, because I want, to make other people happy.
And my question, this is the final question round. My final question is, if you could choose one gift to get rid of, what gift would you get rid of?
That's a good question.
Because he could do anything. So if you got one gift to get rid of, what gift can you get rid of?
Or you can be honest and say none too.
Yeah. Because it's hard. Because it's you.
My gift of whistling. I would give that up.
Shut up.
Oh,
I keep everything else though. That's the thing. I can do it. I can do it.
Shut up.
I got y'all.
Yeah, I can't whistle. I can't whistle either. Go ahead on your final question.
All right. My final question is, it could be either music, poetry, acting, photography, or all the above. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years of any of the categories I just named, or all above?
So the goal, honestly, in some capacity, is to merge all these together. So don't quote me on this, but quote me on this. So the way I envision everything is, I want to have an art gallery or art showing gallery, right? Of my best photos, right? The best ones, whichever ones I feel like are the greatest. And I might just divide them into different rooms, and in each room have like music that I've made, a song or whatever, playing in each room, and then have like some visuals that goes along with it. So it's like maybe you have the actual, frame photograph, and then you have like a projection. Ooh, yeah, have a projection. It'd be kind of cool if you could, like, all right, think about this. No, never mind. That's too fast. But anyway, yeah, that's probably what I would do. I'll probably just have like an art gallery and have some music playing like that. And then during that, I'm going to do some poetry, do some poetry in the middle of it, and then have different other poets do certain things. And Kareen, I already know, have some live art going on. I'm not doing it, but she already knows who's going to be doing it, though. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Ben, as long as you have some drinks there, I will be there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
you better believe we're going to be there. I would definitely be there, because that is dope. That is super dope.
That'll be one hell of a night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I want, man. I always want people to have fun and have a good experience, you know what I'm saying? So it's all about that. If any time I invite, I always tell people this, because people be thinking I'm like inviting them to something crazy. But I tell people, I'm trying to invite you to something, it's probably something that I think would be a great experience for you. It's not like, I'm gonna invite you to us just sitting around looking. No, I'm like, let's go to this thing. And one thing Kareen knows, like Kareen and I, we was all around Atlanta. We never went to nothing that was too boring. We always went to something that was cool. You know what I'm saying? So that's just,
oh my God,
what it is. Nah. So yeah, I always try to do something that's cool, because I just feel like when it comes to art and all those creative, just creative energies that we all have, even with this, it's like we all have these gifts for a reason, and we all shouldn't be afraid to show the world, because I ain't gonna lie, at one point I was like, oh, but I've come to realization, it's like, just show it to them, Get out there, get your platform like y'all doing here, put it out there, show people what's going on, because without this kind of documentation, did it ever happen?
Preach. Go ahead, Hakeem. Final question.
So, man, you've been fabulous, brother. And I wanted to ask, if you was in my position as the interviewer, what question you think I should have asked you?
I don't know, man. I don't try to think for other people, because I don't know how to.
No, but I might have missed something. What you think?
That's the question. The question you're asking is, did you miss anything? Okay, all right.
Like if you was in my position as the interviewer, You telling me your life story, what you think I should have asked you that you want the world to know about you, Mr. Ben Garden?
Like, what's your favorite coloring book?
Wait.
All right.
You
All right,
know what I mean?
I'm gonna
I
tell
think-
y'all something. I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. I don't eat pork, but I love chitlins.
Ooh.
Oh, that's different.
Okay.
Right.
That's
Because
Chillins.
I can't dine with the swine, but hey, it's a family thing, man. We've been eating those
he
back.
from the South.
My auntie was cooking them joints, cleaning them, boiling them. God rest her soul. You know what I mean? We gotta keep going. That's my only way to keep that fresh. You know, that connection.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
even though I don't eat pork, but on Thanksgiving, I gotta have me some chitlins, some hot sauce on some pepper, something like that. I gotta have it, man.
Okay.
But you were like, Go ahead, Stevie. Final question.
Yes, final question. I did want to touch a little bit on the acting thing, and maybe we'll just kind of keep it short and sweet. Like I talked about you being on that indie film Pythagorean Theorem, and then you talked about being behind the camera and in front of the camera. And I also mentioned how you ended up in a movie randomly with
yeah,
and Little
Nice.
Rel Hari. What do you like more? Like in terms of being in front of the camera, how difficult is that for you? Like getting lines together versus this other random movie which is on Netflix now. It's called Bad Trip. Y'all go see it. It's hilarious. Like you will die laughing at this movie because it's so freaking funny. But what do you like more? And is it hard to be in front of the camera than obviously being behind the camera?
I mean, I wouldn't say hard per se, you know, because I'm all like every time I performed, I transform into somebody else. You know, when I go on stage, it's like I'm not even me anymore. So that's just why I take into when it comes to acting. Like the difference between Bad Trip and Pythagorean Theorem, you know, Pythagorean Theorem is more so like, you know, you have that script, you got to remember your lines, which I do enjoy because, you know, it's just a memory exercise, like remembering like lines and being able to take it into your own and just express that, you know, how you would say it or the character would say it and pretending to be that person. So I like that part. And I also like, and also when it comes to Bad Trip, I like that as well because, you know, it's kind of funny because when it comes to music, I like structured music and I also like improv. So, you know, it's a little bit of both. They both have their, because with the Bad Trip, it's like I'm able to see that for most people, like I'm funny being myself, you know, or being whatever, you know, I guess, you know, or like seeing yourself like how you are with no script or anything. And that's just really interesting, like, you know, just seeing yourself in that way, you know, but and then, you know, I mean, and I'm such a person that doesn't want to anybody know who I am or see me for some matter. I'm just an introvert. So it's funny when people walk up to you and it's just like, hey, were you in that movie? You know? And they're like, oh man, you're so great. You're this, that. And I'm just like you, all right, first off, you start to think like, what about it what is it that people, like, I mean, I hate to get so deep about things, but that's always how I think. It's like, what about that is so like cool, you know? And then I'm realizing like, in that the movie part, you know, you have me in there stopping the fight between them and trying to make sure they're not like, you know, trying to like get at each other and going to great lengths, right?
Spoiler alert.
Whatever. And my thing is, to me, it's like I can't just be like a bystander and just sit by and watch somebody like go down like that. You know what I mean? Like that's just not in me. You know, I just can't. It's to me, it seems like anybody would do that because why would you let something go so far? But then I think, and I'm like, you know what? We're in a culture where people, I don't even have my phone, but you know, they get their phones out. They rather just let their phones watch it, you know? And so I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I get it, because people aren't used to like going and stopping and breaking, you know. So if they see that, then it's like, oh, that's different. And you know, it's funny because that translates to so many other things, even with the music. It's like, or creativity. I'll give you one last thing and we can end it, right? So I went to this poetry event, right? And there were people doing their poems and they were doing their poetry, how they do their poetry. You know, they're on the microphone, you know, oh, this is my poem, you know, blah, 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 doing their poetry, you know. And it was cool, you know, it was mighty generic, but, you know, as they should, right? And then, you know, I was able to go on stage with this band called Harmonic Continuum and kind of do whatever I do, right? And I remember it was so vastly different from what the other people were doing because I get intense. I'm in there like, the sun is blinding. Like, I mean, you know, I'm getting dramatic, you know, I'm all, and I remember just seeing people's faces like, you know, you know, and that's what makes me think it's like when we have that opportunity to perform, to be somewhere, I feel like as an artist, take that as an excuse to go in, go in. You know what I mean? Don't hold back, shawty. He put you on the stage to do something, man. You blow their minds, dog. Because if you don't, you just like everybody else. Ain't nobody gonna really notice you. You're gonna just be a speck of a sand in the damn on the beach. That's it, you know. But if you blow their minds, shawty, like think about it. G.G. Allen, right? G.G. Allen was disgusting. He would perform and piss all over himself and all this kind. But it was so but it was so shocking that he's famous for that, famous for it. The music, nobody really probably even knows the music that much, but that is, you know what I mean? So it's like, listen, don't do a G.G. Allen, but do a G.G. Allen. You know what I mean? Do that. Anyway, I'm done.
Final question. Final question. Let the people know where they can find you, where they can find your music, your poetry, your website, hell, your movie. Let them know where they can find you. Go right ahead.
So first and foremost, IamBenGarden.com. IamBenGarden.com. I Am Ben Garden. You can find the poetry, you can find the music, you can find the photography, and you can also find my photography rates if you're doing a concert, and I do travel. Tossing it out there.
Okay.
You can also find inside the my website also a link to the Melodic Monster specifically to that. Have a link for that. That's melodic-monster.com. So if you want to just look at that, you have that. You talk about the socials on Instagram at Melodic Monster. For my band, it's at Melodic Monster Band. But if you go on my page, you'll see the link to my band. So at Melodic Monster. At MELODICMONSTER. Don't really care about Twitter too much or anything like that, but mostly like Instagram and IamBenGarden.com, melodic-monster.com for everybody. Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
And then we got
anything else?
I got everything. You got we got the Bandcamp also for the poetry book. You know, we got that
nice.
on there. For the audio, y'all want to go on there. Ben Garden Poetry. I can look that up on Bandcamp. And also on DistroKid on all your platforms, musical platforms. We got Ever Growing Tide EP, 2 songs. Well, Where Am I? And also Ever Growing Tide, the track. So that's gonna be pretty good. That's it. Thank y'all. Sorry. Oof. One last thing. The book.
Most of the information will be in the description. Go ahead.
Last thing. Last but not least. Oh my God. I told you I need to get assistant. All right. Last but not least, get the book, My Words, Your Freedom on Amazon.
Yeah, we can't forget that.
Everything's gonna be linked in the description.
Yeah, everything will be on the description, guys. So you won't miss a beat. But for those that do listen really well, he already gave you the information where you can find them. So guys, make sure hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell on the right hand side. Remember, we do go live each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Like always, thank you, Ben Garden, for being on the show. We really do greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Kareem Stevie, as well, for bringing him to us. Now he's part of the Chaos Culture Radio family. So whenever you're in town in Miami, call me, call Prince Hakeem. I know you already know Kareem Stevie, so call him, and I will go, and I would like to meet you in person. And whenever you're in LA, that's where Jordan is at. So you meet him, he's right there. He's in LA.
Okay.
So here you go.
We gotta do
man, it was really, really
Chaos
dope.
Culture LA. We gotta
Oh, yeah.
do a link up. In
No, we
LA.
already
Yeah,
told you,
yeah.
Chaos Culture Radio. We already talked about it.
Yeah.
A meetup. But we really appreciate you, Big Dog. We thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to Chaos Culture Radio. We over and out, guys. Peace.
Where are we? Scattered in the wind, waiting for God to descend, longing for a friend, dreaming of the end, wanting to pretend, lost within your sins, desperate for a pen, cast from the trend, brainwashed by men, with nothing left to lend, wounds that never mend, make life slow to begin. The tortured past is just a blur. Wisdom nurtures itself into a new form. Pain is but a scratch. You hurt for a while, and then your skin is reborn. 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 God's eye is always moving, watching the changes occur like a movie scene. We are but actors in a play, with roles forever changing like growing seeds. Our beauty is eternal, though our skin will decay, spirit becomes more vital. As attachments become forgotten gems, and memory skips a beat,